Welcome to Behind Olivia O. Today we have the pleasure of chatting with cast members Jada Rifkin and Luke Marty. Jada is portraying the role of Nancy Collins, and Luke is portraying the role of Bill Collins in the Toronto Fringe Festival production of Olivia O the musical. Hi, Jada and Luke, how are you?
We're great,
Great. How
Allison.
are
How are
you?
you?
Good. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to have you here.
Us
Thrilled
too.
to be here.
Yeah,
So, to get us started, could you share a little bit about yourselves and your backgrounds in theater?
Sure. Yeah.
please.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up doing the plays in school and stuff, and really fell in love with it, and then went to theater school at George Brown Theater School here in Toronto, and now I've been working professionally for about 20 years, all across the country,
That's good.
and yeah, it's been a good time.
Yeah, I grew up as a competitive dancer first, so I wasn't really introduced to being in theater until my early adult years. However, I was always influenced by musicals and theater, so it really inspired my pursuit of being part of theater. I went to Randolph for musical theater college training, and I've gone on to be part of theater for younger audiences, Jewish theater I've really connected with, improv style theater, musicals, plays. I'm so lucky to have been able to perform across Canada, in the Middle East, and Singapore, and here we are back at the Toronto Fringe.
It always comes back to the Toronto Fringe. This is Fringe number what for you, Jada?
I think for Toronto Fringe, this will be my 15th show.
Wow.
I've been so lucky to be part of as a performer since I think 2014 was my first year
Wow.
acting, be performing part of it. So sometimes it would be like two to three different shows in the festival, because sometimes you
Yeah.
just have to.
You just got to. Wow. So, when did you first fall in love with theater and what really inspired you both to become performers?
Yeah, I mean, my parents were both teachers at the local high school, and they were very involved in putting on the musical that the show did every year. They built the sets. My mother was producing and stage managing, and so quite often after I was finished at elementary school, we would be in rehearsals because that's where my parents were. And so I really got to spend a lot of my formative years watching people put together these incredible stories and seeing how they're put together, all the work that goes into it across the board, not just on stage, but also backstage. And I really just fell in love with it. And I just, it, being able to fully embody telling these stories was something that just struck me as, yeah, that's what I want to do.
He's really good at it too.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, that was a good answer.
that was a really good answer.
Okay. So there's two memories I have. The first one is, so as I mentioned before, my family isn't in the biz, but they were always listening to Tommy, Les Mis, Joseph. So I'd be dancing around listening to that at a very young age. On road trips to Florida, they would be listening to Les Mis, and I recognized at like 3 years old. I thought, that's not just any music. They're telling a story. So I would be constantly asking, okay, what's Marius doing now, Mom? And I was very intrigued by it. But I think the moment was, I think a year later when I saw Donny Osmond in Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. Yeah, that was the colors and the lights, and they do this. It was like, it was amazing. And I didn't really get to do it until I was in my early adulthood, because I got to do dance for such a long time. But that was the first, oh my gosh, people do this, I want to do this.
Yeah, Joseph was probably my first big show that I saw
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
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 I was gonna say it always comes back to that Technicolor Dreamcoat
I'm
somehow. It
telling
it
you.
always comes back to it. And I think like you were saying this, the most beautiful thing about theater is getting to watch the songs tell a story. And
Yeah.
it's not just it's always that thing that they tell you in theater school is like show don't tell. And I
Mm.
think
Yeah.
it's so special where it's like you can listen to a cast album and you're not even seeing the show and you can follow along with that story. Like there's no other medium like that. It's so
Mm.
special.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is. It
And
is.
what about Olivia O made you say, I want to be part of this? Why did you feel the need to tell this important story?
I mean, it's already such an award-winning musical, and for good reason. Just reading the script, the characters were so defined, and there's such a clear story, and there's so much heart in such an important piece. You really care about the people. And yes, while we are playing the villains, there's so many layers, and you find how human these people are.
Mm. And the story is unfortunately incredibly relevant to our present
Yeah.
times, and I think it's important that we make sure people are, informed and aware. And I think a beautiful story like this is a wonderful way to engage people in the realities of, the current political crises we're in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just like you were saying, to kind of piggyback off on that, obviously the show is not based off of a real person, but it's inspired by true events. And it is so saddening to see that these true events are happening in our world. And I always bring it back to the finale of the show being entitled Weave the World. And I say that it's our job as the cast members of this show to get out on that stage and tell the story and use that show as our medium to weave the world and show people that might not even know what's going on, that this is what's happening and we're telling this story even though it's not an exact story of someone who lived through it. And I think it's such a special element too when you kind of look behind the scenes into our cast that we have so many immigrants in the cast as well, immigrants themselves and people whose parents who were immigrants. And I think it's so special to get to see actors bring their own personal experiences and their stories and their journeys into the show as well, because unfortunately our show is reflective of people's journeys.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what are you most looking forward to about portraying your respective roles in Olivia O? Because you kind of get to play the villains.
Yeah, I mean, in this situation, I like whenever you play somebody that is going to perhaps be perceived as the villain or the doing the wrong thing, it's so important you can't judge the person.
Mm.
So I'm
Mhm.
really looking forward to taking on that challenge of not judging Nancy, because I see the layers of how she's trying so hard to protect herself and how much she really feels that she's protecting Olivia. And in order to do that, she's actually causing a lot more danger. So finding those layers, I'm really looking forward to that. And getting to also perform with Luke.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the big thing. To be able to be on stage with Jada, it's very special, and we've been really wanting to do it for a very long time. So very grateful for this opportunity.
Is this the first time you're on stage together? Sorry to cut you off.
As
Like
a
in this
couple,
capacity?
As a
yes.
couple, yeah.
Yeah.
And you get to play a couple. That's, oh
Yeah.
my God, I'm even more excited now. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, I think that Bill is a little less redeemable
Yeah.
than perhaps Nancy, but
Yeah.
these are real people.
Yeah.
It's not, while the way that people end up becoming villains may feel somewhat cartoonish, when you look at it from a distance, these are real people who make these choices every day. And I think it's important to highlight that these people do exist, that there are wolves in sheep's clothing,
Yeah.
people who are in it for themselves, but professing to be working for a greater good. And, I think it's really important to examine people's actions rather than what they say. And I think that that's an interesting aspect of this. Um, and plus I have that really big fun song that I get
I
to
was
do,
just gonna say,
which will
and that
be
really big, crazy song.
yeah.
So cool.
Oh, I think that's what I'm most excited for is getting to hear you sing that for the first time. I'm so excited.
Yes. It's gonna be
Oh,
great.
and that's kind of a perfect segue because I'm so curious as you spent time with the script and as you get to know these characters, what do you hope that people will understand and learn from Nancy and Bill's experiences?
that that could be anyone.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's really important to take a very close look at what you give your energy to, what you give your time to, what you give your money to. Especially, Bill is one of these sort of like prosperity gospel evangelical preacher types, people can get really drawn in by the pageantry of it. And I think it's very important that we look very closely at the people that we idolize, at the people that appear to be on the surface, doing some great work, especially if they're professing how much great work that they're doing. Um, because if there's a less noble motive underneath that, there can be people who are doing real damage, and
Yeah.
it's important that we examine what we're supporting, where we're giving our attention, what we're giving that to, particularly in these times when there are lots of things going on in the world, and it can be confusing as to what you might consider the right thing to do is. And I think it's important to really take a closer look.
Definitely. So, so well said. And I think getting to see the levels of the certain people that, like you were saying, that you idolize and that you look up to, I always kind of bring it back to the banana analogy because it was going through my mind when I was reading the show. It's like everything looks perfect when you see the banana peel, but then when you start to pull it back, you see what wasn't there when you looked at it initially. And I think that that's such a cool concept. And it's so scary that that concept relates to our world because you kind of never know what you're looking at until you really, really analyze it from all of the perspectives.
Yeah.
Yeah. But on a happier note, what excites you most about performing at the Toronto Fringe Festival?
Well, I
Jada's
mean,
back home.
it feels like home. Toronto Fringe has
Yeah.
always felt like home. It's it's summer camp for adults. It's
Yeah.
for people who love theater, who love new theater works, who love being part of them, who love seeing them, who love connecting with other like-minded people. Some of my closest friends are people I met at the Fringe tent. So it's a very special time, and getting to perform with you is like
Yeah.
an added bonus because I get to share it with you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we've done Fringe separately before,
Yeah.
but this is the first time we'll be doing it sort of together,
Yeah.
and that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And Fringe is just such a wonderfully supportive community where people are really trying things out and willing to go the extra mile to say, this is what I'm bringing to the table. What do you guys think of
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. Luke, what number Fringe is this for you?
That's a really good question. I don't know. If I think really hard, my first Fringe would have been 2008.
Yeah.
That's the year I was born.
We love that for you, Allison. We love that for you. You're so accomplished and you've done so much since 2008.
Wow.
Yeah, and I've been a director, I've been on stage, I've been a supportive partner,
Yes.
and
You've played all the parts.
yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of Fringe shows that I've acted in, I think this is probably number 6 or 7, but I'm not sure entirely.
It's a lot of shows.
That's a lot of wow. Wow. And when you think about audiences at the Fringe seeing Olivia O, what are you most excited for them to experience?
It's a good question. I think I'm just really excited for people to experience a story that is so relevant, but also full of hope.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of, doom scrolling and the gloom of things that are going on, and this is a very serious topic, but it also has a really bright heart to it,
Yeah.
and I think that it's a great way to get people engaged.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of seeing this show as part of the Fringe Festival, it's a show that doesn't just have bones. It has legs, it has teeth, and it has heart. And it's so nice to know that they're in for a fully well-rounded, important musical.
Yeah, I always like to say that the best theater is the theater that makes you reflect and that stays with you long after the curtain closes. And I
Yeah.
definitely think that this show matches all of that criteria.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And what does being part of this show mean to you personally as people and as actors and getting to tell this story?
Yeah, I mean, I'm an immigrant myself, and I come from a much more privileged background than many immigrants have, and so while it is a community that I am a part of, it's not a community that I have had to endure many of the hardships of, and I think that this is a great way to get back to that community and give some representation to voices that aren't always given the biggest spotlight, but that really need it at the moment.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I'm not an immigrant, but everything else I agree with. Yeah, just to be there to support and play the part. That's, uh, that's what I'm there to do. And I think getting the opportunity to be a part of a social justice piece of theater that isn't just preachy, it's just a real story. I'm just really looking forward to being a part of that and helping as much as I can.
Yeah, I definitely think that theater that is used as a medium for social justice, I think it really allows you to watch a story unfold before your eyes of something that you wouldn't go through in your personal life because either that's not the background you come from or it's not from the country that you've come from. And I definitely think it exposes the world and it exposes people to experiences that they wouldn't have if they hadn't seen the show. And I
Yeah.
think that really sticks with me because we get to show them a new perspective to the world and kind of hold up a mirror to the world to something that they wouldn't really look at. So I think that that
Yeah.
is really
I mean,
cool to be part
you
of.
know, you can see all the news stories you want, but are you really going to connect
Right.
Yeah.
as viscerally as you will when you see
Yeah.
people going through it on stage? I think it just gives an extra little layer to people
Yeah.
to help connect with those stories and to find that empathetic connection to it. Um, yeah, I think it's going to be great, particularly when a show that is engaged in social justice is a good show,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
this one is. You know, if it's just social justice, but it doesn't have that extra pizzazz that's really going to grab an audience,
Yeah.
then maybe it won't have as strong as legs as this show does.
Right.
But
The
to be part of,
connection.
yeah,
Yeah.
be part of a show that's on its own a great show, but then also really valid in terms of what it's trying to tackle in terms of the world and
Yeah.
social justice. It's just a great thing to be part of.
Definitely. And what's something that you hope that the audience will take away from this story, whether it's a life lesson or a motto, just something that you hope that they'll carry with them as they exit the theater?
Weave the world.
You
Weave
know
the
it.
world.
You know it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think just hope. Hope that something can be done, that you can do something, that it's not just an overwhelming miasma of wrong that you can't do anything about, that you're helpless in the face of. That there are ways that you can stand up and do something about what's going on in the world.
Definitely. And how has being part of Olivia O inspired you as a performer in the sense of, taking your talents and using that gift to tell the story and weave the world?
I'm not sure yet. I look forward to finding that out more as we begin rehearsals for Olivia O. Um, yeah, I'm not exactly sure how to answer that question yet. But I'm as I continue to read this script, understanding every single really defined character, uh, I have more understanding of what is happening in this story.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really inspiring journey to go on, and I'm really looking forward to going on it.
Yeah.
I'm excited that we all get to embark on this journey together and tell this story. And
Yeah.
to close us out, if you could sum up the show in one word, what word would it be and why?
Why?
I would say timely. I think that so often you see shows about things that have happened, a little further in the past. Something this is so visceral because it's right now. This is happening right now to people, real people, and I think it's important that we are cognizant of that. Um, yeah, so timely.
Yeah. Um, for me, the word I would choose is hopeful, because this is happening right now. And in this story, Olivia is constantly told that nobody is there for her. Nobody will be there for her, so she might as well stop fighting. And she never stops fighting. And by doing that, she succeeds and she wins. And that's very hopeful for anybody who watches Olivia O, the musical.
Thank you so much, Jada and Luke, for being here and for the passion and care that you bring to Olivia O. And thank you to everyone for tuning into Behind Olivia O. We can't wait for you to experience the show, and we'll see you at the 2026 Toronto Fringe Festival.
See
Bye,
you
See
at
you
the
everyone.
there.
Fringe!
Bye.